Welcome to Law and Order Sporters. Law and Order Sporters. I'm your disbarred sports attorney, Brandon Perna, and we've got another wrinkle in the disgusting tapestry that is the DeSean Watson legal situation. And this latest piece of information actually helps Watson's case and is a strong example illustrating how greed has ruined our legal system. About 2 weeks ago, another alleged DeSean Watson victim filed a suit against the quarterback, becoming the 26th woman to do so. And this week, Watson's legal team presented some evidence that will probably ruin any chance her case had. And in fact, Watson's legal team is asking for sanctions against the law firm that filed the suit in bad faith. So let's take another dive into the complex web of law. Please subscribe here. It's my birthday. I wanted to talk about this on my birthday, clearly. Today's episode, though, is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. If you want a chance to win a big prize, check out the Battle Royale with cheese. 50,000 to first place, 20,000 to second place. It's a 6-person draft, so you can build a really stacked team to try and get that big money. I did a couple. They also have a spooky boost going for Hallows Eve. If you got a dog, drop a photo of your dog in a Halloween costume on the Underdog Twitter account to get their spooky Joe Burrow post. Sorry, that's Joe Burrow. Boo as in ghost. That makes more sense. Tag me in that shit so they know I sent you as well. If you want to use your brain for pick'em games and live in one of the qualifying states, you can win up to 20 times your money. Build a pick'em entry with 2 to 5 players and guess higher or lower in stat totals for the week. Or pit 2 players' stats against each other in the Rivals contest. Use my code THATSGOOD or the link below, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. I'll also pin the tweet for you to put your dog photos on so you know the right one. All right, DeSean Watson. He's officially back at the Browns practice facility, practicing and acclimating himself with the team. He was so excited to return to his team that he got a speeding ticket for going 97 miles per hour in Sandusky County. Probably trying to get away from Jerry would be my guess. And a great example that Myles Garrett's scary car accident just a month ago taught DeSean Watson nothing. Imagine that guy not learning from his mistakes. Now, Watson, of course, will be back for the Browns' Week 12 game against the Houston Texans. And after publicly renouncing his support for the Dallas Cowboys for moral reasons, we know LeBron James is all in on the Browns as well.
You still a Cowboys fan?
Nah, man. I had to chill out. I had to chill out on the Cowboys, man. Like, man, there's just a lot of things that was going on during the, when guys were kneeling and guys were having, freedom of speech and wanted to do it in a very peaceful, manner. And, a lot of people in they front office and a lot of people that, ran the organization was like, if you do that around here, then you would never play, for this franchise again. And, I just didn't think that was appropriate.
So now you all in on the Browns?
I'm all in on the Browns and,
Going from the Cowboys to the Browns on a moral high ground is like switching from Coke to Diet Coke for health reasons. Anyway, I think now we might know a little bit more about why the NFLPA had a case to fight back against the NFL in terms of suspending Watson for the entire season, and why Tony Busby and the 24 alleged victims didn't have more success in convincing a grand jury to pursue criminal charges against Watson. Initially, 22 lawsuits were filed against DeSean Watson for sexual misconduct and sexual assault. That number rose to 24 before 23 of those cases were settled out of court. The Houston Texans also reached settlements with 30 women who made or who were going to make claims against DeSean Watson. One lawsuit still remains against Watson, has not been settled, and it's the one we have the most graphic, disturbing details about, and one that accuses Watson of sexual assault. If you recall, after several of the lawsuits were all being filed, some made their way back to the Houston Police Department for the criminal investigation. While the police were investigating the cases, one of the court filings was thrown out. 2 weeks ago, we learned a 26th lawsuit had been filed against Watson, which turned out to be the case the Houston Police Department threw out. This lawsuit was also not repped by Tony Busby, the attorney who represented the 24 lumped-in lawsuits. This lawsuit is represented by another attorney, Anissa Wynn, who spoke with ESPN, and as she will tell you, this sounds, exactly like all of the other incidents that took place.
So she met with him at his hotel at the Houstonian here in Houston. And when she got to his room, she began to set up. And he went to the restroom, came out wearing nothing but a towel. And then at some point during the massage, he began pressuring her to massage his genitals, to engage in sexual intercourse. And she refused several times until finally she was pressured into performing a sexual act on Mr. Watson. After that, her massage was supposed to cost $115, and he ended up paying her $300 instead. And he reached out to her several times after that, and she did not respond.
However, DeSean Watson's attorney stated her allegations were considered and ultimately rejected by police, the Harris County District Attorney's Office, and a Harris County grand jury. Likewise, NFL investigators were fully aware of these allegations and chose not to base their findings on any of her uncredible contentions. The numerous persons that considered the allegations all decided to take no action because of the overwhelming evidence contradicting her claim of assault. That's pretty self-explanatory, and these are the messages that have been presented. I'm not going to read through them, but I think the takeaway from these messages is that this particular woman was a willing participant in the exchange of sexual acts between her and DeSean Watson. That's the reason this case didn't get filed with the other 24 lawsuits. What this does not mean is that the other 24 women used this situation to try and better themselves financially. If DeSean Watson did indeed have these documented types of exchanges with all of the women accusing him of wrongdoing, I believe he would have been cleared. The fact that he had to settle 23 of those other lawsuits and that the Texans settled with 30 women probably indicates this was the exception and not the rule. If these message exchanges are accurate, what this suit does is unfairly take credibility away from the other women, and that's a tragedy. And I think it's been a real obstacle in this entire case. Watching this thing unfold has been crazy, to say the least. Like most tough subjects, this has divided people into two camps where everything is black and white, right? You've got those who defend Watson, saying there's just a bunch of women trying to extort money from another star athlete. And then there are those who believe Watson committed sexual assault and misconduct against 24 different women, and that not only should he be suspended, but also in jail. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, as it usually does, which in this case is still pretty fucked up. It's still inexcusable. It means Watson is probably guilty of sexual assault, but some people will use this piece of information to discredit the entire thing, which is unfortunate. What we know as a fact is that Watson, at some point, began booking massages as a means for paid sexual exchanges. That's a fact. And if that's all that happened, if it was all consensual, this would not be a big issue. But the number of massages he booked with different people is alarming, and it leads many to believe that these women were put in horrible situations, that he did exhibit predatory behavior, where they were not expecting sexual advances, and not only that, were pressured or forced to do things that they did not want to do. Now, the NFL's investigation again stated that Watson committed sexual assault based on their findings, and that he showed no remorse for his actions. What we will never know, and what I do not want to guess about, is how many women Watson actually assaulted and or committed sexual misconduct against. But if we now see that there is one person who tried to take advantage of the situation, it messes things up for everyone who was an actual victim. And it gives DeSean Watson one example to say, hey, look, I was a victim. I was a victim in this situation. And that's just, it sucks. It's terrible. And when we talk about money being the root of all evil, it's really greed. And I think this is an unfortunate example of that truth, and it's given credence for Watson's team to counter. Legally, they have a reason to counter. This is from the League of Justice website. Now, Watson is the one filing with the court. In his latest motion, first reported by Cameron Justice of News 5 Cleveland, Watson is asking for the sanctions against a law firm that filed the suit in bad faith. Watson claims that the suit may be a case of unrequited love and evidences an alleged series of seemingly desperate messages from the accuser to Watson. Again, 23 of the other lawsuits have been settled. There's no going back there. What this does, though, is it helps Watson in the court of public opinion, which I don't think some Browns fans even needed at this point. Now, I'm not saying that there are, but if any of the other suits against Watson presented themselves in this manner, where they weren't bulletproof, or it seemed like maybe Watson wasn't guilty, then this is a big reason that the NFL probably could not put its foot down and suspend him for the entire season like they wanted and place stronger financial ramifications against him, and why the NFLPA had at least something to say that Watson should be able to come back this season. And I think this case shows why that probably happened. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube, and if you got a chance, check out my coffee company, BenchwarmerBrew.com. We just launched new mugs. We sold out of the birthday bundle, but the new mugs are still available. Like I said, hand-thrown from a local business out of Minnesota. So supporting me, you're supporting others.